We are live. Darren,
Hello,
d-Roo,
hello.
welcome. We're live. We're going to welcome everyone like this. How is everyone doing? Happy Friday. Reset
Happy Friday.
Mindset. We're back. We're back,
So
baby.
cool.
Yeah, it feels good.
Back. Feels
Yeah.
so good. All right. Well, welcome. We're going to talk
Exciting.
about welcoming. How do we
You know,
welcome?
we haven't heard from any of our friends on the other side of the water for a minute, and no one's heard from us for a while. It's been like 3 weeks. And so for those of you that have missed us, thank you for your kind wishes, and we've missed you as well. And we're really glad we're back. Let me turn my alert off my phone. And I guess I'll start,
Friday.
DeeJae. Highs and
Yes.
lows. Give us your week. How are
Highs
you?
and lows. It's been a low one. I posted. I try to get a little, put it out there. We all go through it, and that's okay. I know that's something that we talk about here in the past. So, reached out. I got so much support. But I had some wonderful highs. I went out to the lake, looked at the water, played with a paddleboard or two. And then came back real quick. But so I had a high, took some time for myself, as we all should. So
There you go.
let's get one of our guests out here.
Yeah.
ASAP.
Let's
All
do
right,
it.
let's go. Where is she? Miss Dorothy.
Hey,
Welcome.
I'm so happy to be back.
Dorothy. Voila.
voila.
As I always say that I've learned from you. Welcome.
Aw.
Good to
Your
see you.
words. Yeah, good to see you all. Yeah, it has been incredible. I don't know since when I've been on the show last time, and so many things have happened in the meantime. So it's wonderful.
It is.
Yeah.
A lot has
yeah.
gone on. I know for us, we had a big week. We got booked into a really special place that you guys will see coming up on some other episodes called The Shop. And so you'll see more car stuff. And I've been dipping into more arts, definitely doing some drawing. James hooked me up with an older iPad that he had, and that just really set me off, Dorothy, what have you been doing?
Oh, I've had some great poetry workshops with leaders and coaches in Iran. So that was a really fun workshop to do. I've had a workshop with young people in Britain who come from vulnerable situations. So that was really wonderful to see them write poems, and they were already all poets in a way. So that was great. I participated in a slam poetry competition 10 days ago in France. That was fun. It was really interesting to meet 70 poets all together, slamming away. So that was a really great experience, the first live experience I had with them.
And for you, that's a big deal. A lot of people don't know that about you, but you really put yourself out there. That was a big deal. Like, that you really wanted that. You set your sights on that. And, congratulations for doing so. Not only just taking a journey and getting out there and, putting yourself into a group of people, from our point of view, it's been wonderful to just see your journey and, as you've gone. And so let's bring out our hidden guest here so that we can hear about her connectivity. Daria, thank you for being here. One of the things, that
Welcome.
you guys had at your other workshop
Hi, everyone.
was some other discussion about welcoming and culture and Dorothy, why don't you kind of explain how you know Daria and how we're all connected?
Yeah. So I've known Daria for a couple of years, and I met her at a circle for being together in silence. So that was a really powerful moment. And Daria is someone who is she's a leader, and she's helping us get out of our boxes, and into the circle. So that's the thing that she's a master at. And so in that sense, she's really good at welcoming, not only in that sense, but in many senses. So I really love the way that she creates a space where that we can really feel included. We can really feel that we are welcome, that everything we share is welcome. And she's worked, in restorative justice. She's helping leaders to work from the point of view of resilience. So she has many wisdom to share, a lot of techniques, and and she's just a wonderful person, simply. So I
Wow.
enjoy sharing the stage with her, or hearing from her and participating to the circles that she sets up as well in support of women in leadership, for instance. So conversations, difficult conversations about race and privilege. These are all initiatives that Daria has been doing. And this week I've had lows as well in the last 10 days. Well, it's that's kind of the flow of life, and
Yeah.
it feels like I've been really influenced by everyone here on LinkedIn who is
Mm.
sharing about mental health struggles, or talking to DeeJae about disabilities. And she's wonderful at welcoming and making sure that she creates a space for welcoming everyone with any type of disability, also online. And I hope we hear a little bit from her on that. And basically I've sort of decided, so maybe I was encouraged listening and having conversations with you all to connect and to recognize or acknowledge the fact that I'm hypersensitive. Like when I was a child, I couldn't bear to wear a sock where the stitches were inside, on the inside, because that would hurt me.
Mhm.
But also now, and it's something I've tried to hide my whole life. I don't know if I succeeded, but I never mentioned it to anyone. And is the fact that I will, whenever I watch a movie or a commercial or a series, I would start crying. Basically, I would be touched emotionally. So these are some of the elements that I've been working with in the last weeks, and it needed to be done because I wasn't able to work otherwise. So I had to do that. And in the process of doing that, I also came across a letter that my father wrote. So my father passed away when I was 17 years old. So it's a very long time ago. And he had been sick for quite a while. And so he was able to prepare his own death. And so he wrote a letter that he wanted to share with all his friends. And that letter gave me some insight as well about who I am, and maybe some of the beliefs that have been maybe keeping me in my small position, or that was just sort of keeping me back in a sense. So these are some of the things I've experienced this last 10 days, and I've started to welcome them as well. And like with the emotions with movies, is to realize actually they tell me something about the bonds that humans have with life. So they are actually joyous moments, and just taking that time to acknowledge that and to reflect upon that has been really, really amazing.
So
And
when you're saying how we welcome, you're also talking about just simply when you're hit watching a show with an emotion, and instead of it
of dismissing it,
overwhelming or just ignoring, what
yeah,
does that look like to welcome that? I don't want to spend too much time because that's
yeah.
really important. What's that look like?
Well, it's like thinking, oh, this is interesting. I have a very clear signal because I start crying, so I know something has happened, right? And so I kind of say to myself, oh, this is interesting. What is it telling me? What's about what aspect of life is it telling me? And then I know what stage or what scene there was just before, and maybe it's something like it's something that happens between a father and his daughter or his son, or maybe it's somebody who overcome an obstacle, or maybe it's somebody who does something for somebody else. It can be all kinds of many things. It
Mhm.
can be the silliest thing, but there seems to be always some form of um, being human, and being connected with others, and
I see.
and having love for other persons, or yeah, acting like human. So it could be, yeah, all these things, heroic as well, or
Hmm.
simple, or silly, sometimes humorous. But these are the elements that will touch me.
Could we pause 1 second on before I want to get to the letter, Dorothy, but it seems like Daria, I don't want to waste this moment that, you know, although we're welcoming you, could you help us by encouraging us to be welcoming, because that is a specialty of yours. What does that mean to you? I'm learning on this. This is all new. So yeah, what is that to you?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on this show. I believe you're very welcoming. So this is a very welcoming space. And space is something that I feel is really important. When I introduce and host groups or do trainings, and I use a circle usually as a forum to gather, I believe it's so important to be present myself first. You know, to welcome, to be there myself. And when I do that, I create a space, I believe, where others can be there and be themselves. And that's, I think, the essence of welcoming. I think it's allowing ourselves to be who we are and giving this, inviting others to do the same in the space. So this is very briefly on welcoming, and I think it's such an important topic, especially now in these times, you know, where we're going through changes and uncertainty and a lot of adversity for many people, you know, with this global pandemic as well. And how do we welcome things we may not have wished for as well? So that's a whole big other topic, and perhaps we will have some time to go there as well. Really happy to be here.
Can I interject here? Because Darren, you were telling me about the story about going to the shops and, you know, having this encounter with someone inside the shops that was not so nice. But you said something about the intention, about when you leave the house. Is that because I felt that that's also a way to be welcoming? Is what intention do you put into your actions?
Absolutely. I think I've been more careful with my actions, you know, as I get to know what stress toll does to me. You know, I don't put myself in certain situations unless I'm right in spirit, I guess. And so leaving the house, feeling I didn't really ever think of it as welcoming, right? You kind of hear people, so they do kind of gratitude things, or like, what are you thankful for? How do you keep your head up? But this is different. And so when you guys had put that on, you were talking about that previously, and I'm like, what does that really mean to be welcoming? Like, I understand what's the welcome mat, and like, but when you're saying, you know, inviting emotion in when you're watching a TV episode or something like that, I've fought that for a long time, you know, to where I used to watch only violent and war movies, you know. I'm former military, so is DeeJae, but for some reason, I think as a young boy, I was fascinated by that, and I spent my life watching that stuff, and it wasn't necessarily good for me. And when I turned it off, I realized there's a whole lot of other things I want to do with my brain, and if I put that in before I go to bed, I'm a mess. And so now I realize that, well, first of all, I don't need to welcome violence into my mindset, right? That's, I've experienced that, and it's been around me. And so part of being welcoming to myself is acknowledging what's good and what isn't, and asking, you know, a friend to say, hey, where am I at from your point of view? You know, that's all super helpful. I didn't realize that was being welcoming, but that's really our relationship, you know, is where James can tell off the tone of my voice, you know, or whatever. If I disappear for a few hours, he knows that I'm not just being a flake. There's something going on, you know. And that's like being known. And I think I'm understanding that there's a welcoming spirit to inviting other people in.
Yeah, I think that, like what Daria spoke to, that the first thing that comes to mind for me is being present. Because when we're present, we're allowing everything to take everything at face value, really meet people where they are, And to me, I think that's a great summary, as you know, just being introduced to the conversation. How do we welcome? And you know, I think that Darren it's a spot where Darren and I have really been focusing the last couple months, really just being present. When we do that, course correction, you know, comes up, community becomes more important, as it always is, but it becomes more of an integral part of being present for me, because even just checking in, how are you feeling today? You know, Darren and I do that almost every day. I would say probably every day. That's a text or a Voxer or something. How are you today? How are you feeling? You know, just something like that just allows us to really understand where someone's at and where they may need something for the day. Because as Dorothy pointed out, there's and DeeJae, you know, great post this week. You know, there's highs and lows, and that is life. But all too often people don't talk about that, and they think that, gosh, it's not significant. It's significant. Anything that wears in your mind is significant. It doesn't matter how big or small the outside world may judge that, because it's important to you. So therefore, it needs to be something that you need to reach out. So I think when I think of the conversation, that's where my mind goes. So, but I think it's great, a very important conversation. So,
So Daria, I mean, I want James to answer that as well, but how do you, because you mentioned as well, is about being present, is being anchored, or how do you do that to be present? Because, I mean, it's not something that's necessarily easy to do or specific, you know, to do.
Yeah, it is. It's something. It's a journey, I would say. You know, it's something that I'm practicing and I'm still learning. It's taking time to listen to my inner voice. I think that's it. And it's often slowing down when I actually kind of have the first initial reaction is to speed up because I want to go somewhere, or my head says do this, or I want to, you know, get a deadline or whatever it is. But then to slow down and to connect with myself and to stay centered in that sense. And that's something that really helps me to know, you know, who I am, and to live that from this place of knowing yourself. I try. It's a journey, but it does help me. So knowing my values, knowing, you know, trying to live according to them every day, and in small things as well. You know, it's not about the big things. It's about being present with others, and being present also, whether, you know, in the grocery store or, you know, with your neighbors. I think that it really matters.
It does matter. You know, I try to teach my kids to just, you know, when you're at the grocery store, you should know those people's names. And I know that isn't a common practice, but I don't know. Someone maybe 15 years ago told me that it matters to them. And I was like, why doesn't that matter to me? And then I just started with one and kept learning their names. And then soon you're in a community. Like, you know, one of the ladies was over for a barbecue, and then when something happened just recently, and she and her son were in major health crisis, and our community dumped in $50,000 and rescued this, you know, older checkout gal. And so, you know, it is important to just be welcoming and be present when you leave the house. And it's actually way less stressful, you know, when you're present, because you're not 2 hours ahead, 2 days ahead, 2 years ahead, or obsessed about something. Like, to me, I definitely know if I'm obsessing about an anxiety, it's not happening at the moment. It almost never is. It's, you know, it's upcoming. And getting back to ground zero, you know, I've learned to, you know, we live in Seattle. So sometimes I'll just go outside, take my coat off and stand out in the rain and just let it hit my face, so that I can feel the ice and just get myself back to ground zero. Sometimes I need a jolt that bad. Did you, Daria, were you always able to be welcoming? I had to go through sort of the rock tumbler, and then I'm on the outside of that, I feel like, to where I'm learning to be present so that I'm living a better life for myself and for my friends and family. Yeah. How did you get to find yourself to be welcoming, to be present?
That's a very good question. Something that really made me, I think, helped me or helps me be more welcoming is something that I experienced, a historical event actually, that I experienced when I was a teenager. Because I grew up in Germany. I'm German. I'm from Germany, and I grew up in West Berlin, which at the time was really this island surrounded by a wall and by, you know, landmines and this death strip with soldiers and dogs and machine guns and barbed wire. And that was my normal. I had always lived there, and it was just, that was my reality. And then, you know, this one day I wake up and the wall is gone. And I just see thousands and thousands of people coming over to my side. And I sense the joy and the sense of freedom. They had overcome their fear. And I still remember this sense of, you know, we were all belonging to each other. There were no strangers that day. And this energy and the joy, that stays with me to today, is something that really, it reminds me every time, you know, there are no strangers. They're just people we don't know yet. And we're all the same, you know, there's no difference actually. And this is something that has stayed with me, and that really shapes, I think, my worldview and how I go through life. But obviously, you know, I think there's phases where it's more present and there's phases where it's less present. But I think since I'm a mom, I became a mom, I have an even stronger sense of this connectedness with other people. It's really helping in feeling the sense of our shared humanity, I would call it.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. I would say my kids didn't, I wish my kids helped me get to that sooner. But now as I'm coming out of it, they're really helping me get there fast, you know, but they're older, you know. It's really a reflection of yourself often when they frustrate you or are doing the same thing you do every day. And it's humbling, you know. And it's important to learn how to find that kind of space to help them grow to into this same concept idea of being present and being welcoming, because they're learning how to really not be in this sort of culture, especially in a young culture, right? There's definitely a lot of they definitely deal with cliques and groups and you know, all of the stresses of you know, school and things like that. And definitely great to see that reflection come back, because there's always changes we can make. And you know, one of mine is definitely learning to be more I would say non-agenda. And James he operates like that. That is to mean, you know, before we were talking, is being welcoming. And a lot of times I'll go in like task focused, and I'll just go and get whatever thing it is done. And now, you know, the one thing we're doing is doing that, right? But we're stopping. It's like I might trudge over the wall, and then we're just kind of pausing and going, do we belong here? Instead of just, I would just keep running before, you know. What was that for you? That, I mean, you've said that for a long time.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. It's one of the things. I have a client that says all the time, you know, you have to slow down to go fast. And I think that when you get into agenda and what you're doing is you're letting your own personal, like in business, for me, it was recognizing that if I put my needs first, I wasn't serving the client. I wasn't being present, and I wasn't welcoming. So that was really important to me day one. And it was, that was something that was just, it was explained and taught to me that really, when you're in any type of a position where you're providing a value and service, selling is something that really is not on the table. It's explaining, being present, really walking people, meeting them where they're at. I think it's so critical. And that's the difference,
Love
asking
that.
the client, how would you like to be followed up with, and really paying attention to that. It's amazing to me through the years, people that say, don't call me, I'll call you. And 3 months later, they call me and they say, you're the only person that listened to me. Everyone else hounded me, and I simply wasn't ready, and that's just unfortunate. I think it's to me, it's always been more of a teaching in just human nature than anything else, in the sense of how would you want to be treated when you walk in for anything. And all too often, that's where the relationships in business become critical. So it's good. But, back to Dorothy's question, being present for me, one thing I notice is like, if I exhale and I notice a lot of tension leaving my upper neck and my shoulders, that's kind of my first awareness that I need to let go some of that tension.
Wow.
That's a big thing for me. And I can do it quietly without anybody knowing it. And I can even do it during this episode where I can just exhale and I can just feel this release of tension. And it's, just a reminder for me to just relax.
Wow.
So I can be present, because if not, that buildness, that building of that tension will go into your chest and it'll kind of tighten you up, and you're just not as natural. You're unfortunately, your mind is elsewhere. Like Daria pointed to, it's something that you have to turn off the roommate in your head, as I call him, and really be present. So it's good. And a quick question, DeeJae, who do we have? I know we've got some amazing people here to stop by to say hi. Who do we have in the house today?
Okay.
Chatting with us.
Okay, I guess. Okay, I'm on. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome chat. Missed you. We've missed all of you. Okay, so where do I start? KDJ.
Hey, while you're looking, everybody in the audience, get your song of the week ready. We're about to drop that. What's your song of the week? There's we haven't heard from anybody in 3 weeks, so we need to have some new music choices.
Yep, I saw Mackenzie was here, and that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. Gabe's here.
What's up, Gabe?
Favorite people.
Hey, Mackenzie.
Yeah.
Favorite people. Yeah.
Kenny. We love you.
Meditation is my relaxation.
I got to get better at meditation. I dip in and out of that, but one of the things I've learned is
Jeffrey
is that the pausing that we're doing all the time is sort of that.
Yeah.
Like what you were just doing. That's sort of meditating.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. I want to because what you were saying, James, was really interesting. Also in terms of what DeeJae is doing, in terms of welcoming everyone and knowing what people need. So DeeJae, do you want to say something about what you do to welcome, to be really inclusive? Online, for instance, with people with who may have a visible or invisible disability, or you told me some really interesting things.
Oh, and now I'm on the spot. Well, we'll be talking about this next week, though, right?
Yes, we will.
So next week we're having our workshop, the poetry
That'll
workshop.
Be great.
We're going to be talking about that. I'm just going to lead it to that and just avoid the question, deflect the question, and do a promo plug right now. That's
do the promo. I don't mind you doing the promo.
Well, we'll be working together next Friday, and it's going to be Eventbrite. So there's going to be a link on LinkedIn and on my page and your page. So people can get us hold of us there for the Eventbrite, and it's going to be a 3-hour workshop. So depending where you're at, but it's still going to be a good 3 hours, and we're just going to do a lot of stuff. And we're going to talk about how to be inclusive and making things a little more accessible. Really just looking at individuals as individuals and not really looking at the outside, looking past the outside. Talking about the depth and the innards of what people really bring them to want to work and be alive and really want to move forward and find their passion and find their motivation, and just all the obstacles that they have to overcome.
Yeah. And listen to the reality of that, and how
and needs to be,
and how we can welcome that, and
and so you're doing that with poetry, is that the plan?
And we do that with poetry, yes. So we first have this conversation where we share about the reality, and the reality of maybe being blind or deaf or being hypersensitive like me, or having some or bipolar or whatever it is that's kind of either it's a strong obstacle or it's something maybe we haven't even realized we had, and then to look at what's really in the way, but also what's the power in that, and where we can get that power, and then we will express that through poetry. So that's the
cool.
plan. Yeah.
Juicy. Juicy.
Your
Okay, I
poetry's
see
really
some
helped me
songs.
in a lot of those ways. I know James could speak to that too.
Absolutely.
We could go. I think we'll definitely need to do another poetry workshop on our line with you, or on my live, because of what came out of that was just some gems and some real connectivity with some other audience members, and that was really beautiful.
Yes.
Sort of one of those happy accidents. We didn't even know it was going to be so amazing.
So just
Go,
receiving a
Dorothy,
request,
yes.
And he demands
But
music.
Yes, yes. We welcome that. Yes.
but I fear that the ukulele is not tuned because I haven't used it in a while, so I don't want to be too doing too much. But anyway, in terms of welcoming as well. Oh no, I don't know any songs.
I think that's just
some
his favorite song of the week. He's not saying play that.
Right. I got my song of the week, so I'm ready
anyway,
to go.
I will do a concert next time. I promise.
Beautiful.
Oh, okay. So for d-Roo's music and his live, it will have a little music influence.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. So you want to talk about songs? Maybe we should just kind of let Daria speak on any final words. I really want to hear a little bit more from Daria. I feel like I didn't get enough from her.
Yeah, we want some more, something else.
But we're going to talk about songs in a minute. So, Daria, share with us a little more.
Well, where do we want to go? I think we covered so much.
If there was just any final thoughts that you wanted that we were just, as we wind down.
I think something that to me is welcoming also, and that's something, when we welcome, it often also means that it's also a goodbye at the same time, because often we have to let something go when we want to welcome something. So again, for me, it's a lot with space. There's space, we create space, and sometimes we welcoming is also new beginning to some extent. So I think there's also this circle again, welcoming and but also perhaps letting go. And that's something I'm also still working on. And often we're more focused on the welcoming, and we sometimes tend to forget that it may mean to make space because we're letting something else go. We're saying goodbye. And it's equally important to say goodbye to things. And so that's something that came up as a kind of a closing remark, perhaps, the opening, the beginning, the welcoming, and then perhaps also saying goodbye.
Yeah,
that's
smart.
beautiful.
Yeah,
hey, Daria, I've been learning Likwala, which is my family's native language. They're First Nations Canadian, and the word for goodbye is chalakasla, and it's goodbye and it's a greeting. It's not like goodbye like we say goodbye. It's a well-rounded, embracing, and it's not I'll see you later. It's a very it has so much meaning. There's not just an English translation, but we say it often. And when you see my posts and you see yo or chalakasla, that's what those mean. It's greeting. I'm greeting you. And a lot of people think it's like a yo, 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 like a hip hop thing. And it's I'm greeting you in a language that's thousands of years old, and trying to, and I'm hearing you say that on the end, you're greeting the goodbye and your open arms for whatever's coming, and for them, whatever they're going to, wherever they're being, whoever they are. And that is so cool. So cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, that's very, you're saying it much better than I do. So thank you for that. Yes.
We're really glad you came. This has been, this
is a great conversation.
Yeah.
We do appreciate very much you stopping by, and Dorothy, so good to see you as well. It's been too long and chat and things, but
too long.
Is great. This is just a great way to come back after a few weeks off. So thank you both so much. Yay. It's great. And DeeJae, great to see you, of course. And
of course,
missed you tremendously. And we're looking forward to to this conversation today, and this has been awesome. So thank you both. And
absolutely.
You got a song of the
I
week?
want to say real quick though. Look at see Scottish welcome. See when welcome language. That's a way we can welcome language, culture. You know, respecting that. Someone the way they dress, the way they. You know, not being so judgmental about those things, I guess.
Or like what you were saying as well is, you know, to make sure when you publish an image to add descriptive, so that people who cannot see the image can read the text, or I mean can have the information, or if you welcome someone who is blind, is to describe, you know, to say, you know, I would
physical description,
a physical description, the context, you know.
Right, and I just gave a presentation to visually impaired students, so I had to make the PowerPoint. It has to be at least 32 point, so it's visible, black and white, Arial. There's things, and with the visual descriptor would be, hi, my name's DeeJae. I'm a Latina. I've got dark hair with a lot of silver. I have a big smile. I'm wearing a black shirt today. My hair's down, and usually I wear red lipsticks with my smile. And that's usually like a visual descriptor to a person that's visually impaired to feel inclusive, and then they can also have that with the audio, the voice that's coming when they're speaking. So I really do enjoy, you know, working with individuals with disabilities and learning things like that to just really be able to make those kinds of group settings and workshops, and I'm looking forward to it, Dorothy. So I kind of just was already working on something, and I'm like, this is great.
Absolutely, I'm really pleased for that and excited. And, so I was thinking as well, Daria, with the goodbyes and the welcome is for sure if we have all of the same information or we haven't said goodbye, then there's no room. And so we are distracted by what's, you know, in there, and there's no room to welcome whoever is coming and whatever new information is there. So that's cool. So I'm really glad to be here and listening to this conversation.
What's your song of the week?
We're excited.
My song of the week. Well, I have got two things. I went classic, baroque. It's Ombra Mai Fu. It's by Handel. And it's basically an ode to a tree, a plane tree, and it says, "Never was a shade of any plant dearer and more lovely or more sweet." And it's really someone who is going to battle, right? And he's saying goodbye in a way to his favorite tree, where he meditates, where he reflects, you know, where he relaxes. And so he knows that maybe he won't be able to come back. And so he's doing this beautiful ode to the tree. So that's one of my songs of the week. And the other one is a playlist that's deep focus. So it helps me focus, but it also helps regenerate my brain, I feel. So it helps me rest. So these are the two sort of music I was listening to today, this week.
I think you'll have to spell that for me. And I want to check that out later for sure.
Yeah.
I'll put it in the chat, and then DeeJae can.
Daria, what's your song of the week?
Well, I have a French song, actually. It's called Close to You. And I don't know if Dorothy knows it. My daughter introduced me to the song, and we're both fans of it, and we're playing it all the time. It's a love song, or it's a sad love song, I should say. And it's perfect for driving in the car in the rain. We've had a lot of rain here, and just being on the road and listening to the song. And so it's about saying goodbye, letting go, and I guess welcoming whatever comes next as a phase. So it's called A Fleur de Toi. A Fleur de Toi.
Put it in that private chat, and I'm going to share that.
Is that what that means?
Sorry?
A flower tree?
You know
but fleur is like really close. It's like it's effleuré. Effleuré is like to really like brush by. You know, it's a brush of you in a sense, or so close to you that, you know, it's like a butterfly is in between.
I love it.
Awesome.
We're going to share that, Daria. We want that song. I'm going to go real quick because I know the clock is ticking. And this one was for Jeffrey. So let me see. Jeffrey, I don't know if you're still here. Oh, wait. And I'm going to put myself up here. But I was going to do an Iron Maiden song. I had
Nice.
Jeffrey. He had his post. I was down. It came across my playlist, and I really felt it. So it was nice to have an Iron Maiden song and then be able to relate that to our community. And it's Caught Somewhere in Time. So,
Wow, that's a great title.
yes.
Yeah.
Caught Somewhere in Time by Iron Maiden. So
I don't know if I've known one Iron Maiden song, so I'll have to go listen to that.
I know
fine.
several.
I know
by
you do.
default, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
My cousin was really, a lot of they're great artists.
I mean, I don't mind that kind of music. I just don't know their catalog.
Yeah.
What's yours, man? We're running short.
Yeah. So this week for me, it was different. It was
QR.
Marley, but it was Ziggy Marley,
Woo.
and it was "Love Is the Only Law." And there's a line in there that says, "We only live to learn to love," and the music and the arrangement on that is huge. And the that song to me it feels like it's like I'm on a ride. It's just amazing and joyous, and it's a beautiful song. Yeah, just Ziggy Marley. Love Is the Only Law. So
Yeah, man. And I'm with because of my friends that speak Francois K. Sera by Wax Taylor, who's a French DJ producer who's I just love his stuff, and so that was mine for the mix. Whoops.
Yep.
No, I didn't mean to play
oh.
it. But there we go.
That's twice now.
There you go.
42 minutes. We got to cut this.
Cut
It's
it
time
off.
to go. It's
Thank you
time
guys
to go.
for being here. This was
Thank you so
amazing.
much.
I know.
Thank you to
We're getting
everyone.
Thank you so much,
excited.
everyone.
Sarah, goodbye. Bye,
Thanks,
Daria.
Dorothy.
Bye,
Have a
Dorothy.
wonderful weekend,
Thanks for having
I'm
me.
looking. We're not going to stop saying goodbye until this thing
No
goes.
way. Thank you, Jeffrey, for coming by.
Countdown. I know,
Thanks,
Jeffrey.
Mackenzie, Kenny, everybody. We love you.
I know.
Yes,
The
thank you
intro.
everyone for
Thanks,
joining.
Daria.
I don't know what's
Thank
going
Thank you
on.
very much for having me.